Good Wednesday afternoon to you. It is Chris, host, creative, encouraging your spirit podcast, and also the Wiley Report. It's National Coming Out Day, and I figured I'd use it to give personal reflection day because I haven't really done a lot of content. Real talk, it's life's been life and it's been busy with work, with narratives from my upcoming qualifying exam, and with conference travel. So I had some downtime this evening and I was thinking about it and I figured that I would share my thoughts about National Coming Out Day. I think for me, National Coming Out Day, I think visibility, representation, uh, it always matters. One of the things that I saw the other week, whoever's doing the content over at We the Urban, a lot of times those posts when they say 9 things you need to hear today or what you need to see today, or whoever's, if whether it's a team, a person, or people, I don't know, are always like, yes, that is so amazing. So the things that I think that connect with National Coming Out Day and each and every day are: I'm not afraid of being seen. I do not have to hide. I am worthy of occupying space. I do not have to dim my light, and I'm authentically me, and that's my strength. I think about that because I think that's important whether we're talking about National Coming Out Day or we're talking about each and every day. When I think about me, as in Chris's life, I often figured and felt like I was a late bloomer because I didn't come out until I was 23. When I think about life these days or in present day context, I think visibility wise, you see a lot of people that are representative of LGBTQ plus in a lot of different spaces in a lot of different places. I'm not saying that means the world is 100% inclusive or that equality is experienced by all, but I think on some levels of visibility, you do see more than you saw when I think about life when I was in high school. I think there's still room to grow and definitely room to expand people's consciousness of how they show up and what that means. But I just think back to like 91 through 95. I was in high school and I knew maybe two people that were gay. One was a freshman white gay male, and the other one was a black lesbian, and she was a senior. I mean, they were the only out people that they confirmed and said and lived their life openly. And just thinking about like in treatment of others, how other people treated them. You saw some people that were really cool with them, or you saw people that ostracized them, coupled with the fact that you saw that they also kept to themselves. It was really multifaceted. And then when I finished high school and I went to college, 95 through 99. Again, I knew two out people. One was a black femme that was bisexual, and the other one, an openly bisexual, and the other one was a black lesbian. But, I also went to a school that was historically black college, and also primarily funded or a primarily staunch supporter, or we went to church every Wednesday by the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church. So church and being gay or openly gay or at a church school is a whole different type of experience. And I think when I think about back to my life, I didn't necessarily always have language or really even be open to being me and being truthful with myself. I often spend a lot of times trying to say that, oh, I was, nerdy, or I was, brainy, or I was just focused on my studies or whatever, but I had zero interest in heteronormative or heterosexual relationships at all. And because I also remember joining a sorority when I was in college, and when I did tell my sorority sisters that I was gay, they were like, "That ain't news. That's old business." We always knew that. We love you. So, and that wasn't, I won't say that was the entire sorority. That was the people that I was willing to share my truth or share that with. And I've spent about 20 plus years identifying as a masculine centered lesbian. And I was but my parents were never accepting at all. uh, and I think I wore a mask because I was scared to come out to myself. I was scared to come out to them. And I wore a mask for a long time. And there are definitely years in my life where I compartmentalized, where when I think about I compartmentalize by choice, because when I think about like how I wear my hair now, when I had, really short hair, the low cut with the waves, wavy baby, that wasn't always acceptable for jobs when I was living in Georgia. It was not. Um, so it didn't matter that I had been to college or what my qualifications were. They were very into what is it that you're presenting as, and in I grew up in the South, Georgia, and it's conservative. It's a red state. So that was a struggle to find livable wage employment to take care of yourself. So what I did was I would wear female identified clothes Monday through Friday, and on the weekend and in my house I was gay Chris. That was what I did. I made that decision. Or in some cases I grew my hair out and had a relaxer. Um it was the way that I lived. In order to take care of myself, in order to get a job, that's what I did. I lived wholeheartedly. Don't ask, don't tell. Um, and I look at myself these days and feel like, all of that was true. Not that I want to deny it. All of that's true. So I have the celebrations of life that happened during that time. I have the scars and the wounds from living compartmentalized, and then finally getting courage to be Chris, to be me. That was not an immediate experience, even when I did tell my parents that, I was gay. They were not happy people. There were terrible phone call conversations. There were years where we only talked 5 minutes. Uh, you know, um, there were times when I told myself that, if I just was honest about the relationship that I was in, and lived in truth, that they would have a different response, only to find out that didn't matter either, because the truth of being myself uh, was not a truth that they were willing to accept. So I still have to continue being Chris and giving myself permission to be me, to deal with that in an experience. Long when, the long-term relationships ended, or then when I met my wife and I got married, being okay with being who I am. And then later it became the experience of realizing that masculine center lesbian, it was not an identity that worked for me, because I feel more male. I know biologically, or gender marker, what science, some scientists feel is connected to femininity or womanhood, I have zero connection to. So, that ain't me. That ain't me. And as I've said on another video, my pronouns are he, him, and his. And I'll even take a they. But she, don't be sheing me to death. That's just not my experience, But yet I grew up in this body. And I also realize, as I say that, when I show up in spaces, for example, when I think about like my experience of going to a recent conference, I definitely feel that most of them felt that I was the masculine-centered lesbian, because they were talking about black woman this, black woman that. And I was like, I'm just trying to eat my tacos. My fajitas. I'm like, I'm more power to you. I do support, black women. I love black women. Much respect. I don't deny the experiences of me that, that Christy is my given name, gave me. I don't hide from it. I don't feel like dead name from that. That's just not an identity that I identify with, now. I'm thankful for the experiences that I had in terms of the Mama Ernestine, who was not my biological mother, but showed me support and unconditional love. That loved me and cared about me and my life, and talked to me about my dreams and my plans. And I'm grateful that I got a chance before she passed away to thank her for all that she poured in with me. And I always remember she would say, you get plenty steps, but you only get one parent. So it's okay, or one parent set of parents. And that just shows me, when we think about love, the complexity of it in terms of our relationships with our family members, and how people have different choices and different decisions that they have to make in that regard. But you always have to show up as you and do what's best for you. And there will never be another person that can tell you what it is that you should do, because you have to live in that decision. You're living within that relational experience, and you're constantly evolving and growing. And that's why I always think of what I've learned most out of my life, especially as I realized that, my identity is transness, is that I had to get over being afraid to be seen. And I am grateful for the people that see me and that affirm me. And I also had to learn to affirm myself, that it was okay to be me, and to know that it's okay to be multifaceted and complex in terms of many things, or the fact that just the idea of coming out and visibility means different things, that everybody will not be able to do it for different reasons, and some people are. And no matter where you are on the spectrum of decisions to come out or not come out, honor yourself and what it is for you that matters. And I think about that in terms of work, because this position that I hold at the library in Illinois, this is the first position that I ever held where it was okay to wear a tie to work. No one cared. They did not care. And I remember the experience of going to the interview and being terrified, because it was the all-day interview and the dinner. And I remember my wife said to me, okay, well, what we doing? Because, I had made it. They called me and they were like, you did apply. Did you remember applying for this job? I had said no, because I didn't remember. But, I wasn't going. I was looking for work at that time. So why would I say, no, I remember you? I remember. And she was like, Human Resources was like, we're going to call you in January and fly you out here to Illinois to interview for this position. Thank goodness for saved emails in Yahoo, because there it was. And so my point is, I remember, I got to go to this interview. They're sending me the schedule. And, my wife was like, well, what you going to do? What would you like to wear? Because she was like, are you going to go with the tie and go with that? Or are you going to, what is it you're going to do? And I remember I wore, business casual. I wore a sweater vest and a wine, of course, a wine sweater vest and a wine colored dress shirt and slacks and shoes. And then I wore a female identified pantsuit, because I was afraid to wear masculine, or what people call masculine clothes. It's just clothes, it's all drag if you ask me. But I'm like, I was afraid to wear, what I really wanted to wear, because I was like, if I show up as Chris or Christopher, will I still be able to get this job? Because I had all of those scars and experiences in past jobs when my hair was low cut, if I wore a male identified, or what people consider male identified clothes, that it went negative for me, that I had no idea what it would be like to be me. And that's why too, I'm grateful too, when you think about, when I say like visibility is increased. I remember telling a friend, when you think about like that Amazon series, A League of Their Own, what my life would have been to have seen an Uncle Bert in college. It would have been great. But I see it now, and I realize that it's okay to be yourself. And not just now. I can think of like so many different ways that as I grew and got comfortable within myself, and going to therapy and having friends and family and individuals who love me and see me, that gave me courage to be me. And I think that's very much a part of National Coming Out. A part of visibility. That's very much a part of you being not afraid to be seen, of you knowing that you don't have to hide, that you know that you're worthy of occupying space, that you don't have to dim your light. It's that getting to accept yourself within yourself, to be able to tell the truth to you, because I really believe you live with you longer than you live with anybody else, because you in your body, you in your life, you in your experience. And no matter what your identity, your expression is, or your race is, or whatever, people are often a wide array of identities, because no person is monolithic. No black person is monolithic, no white person, but the only life I know is black. So I'm just saying, when we think about that on the greater scale, what that means and how that can be varied and that can be multifaceted and that can be complex when we think of loving people in our families, or that they might have known you in one identity and now you no longer ascribe to that, and or you that no longer fits, and what that does to the relationship, good, bad, negative, or otherwise, and how we, me, you, us are constantly evolving and growing, not just in identity and expression, but what it is that we believe, what it is we think, what do you think about you, and how you show up in life, and being getting to the point where you're okay with who you are. So that's really all I got. Ultimately, I was just thinking about all of those things. I hope what I've said makes sense. I was just sharing, some stories and experiences that have happened to me, and just getting to that point of just remembrance when I'm thinking about National coming out, because all of those experiences are the lens in which that I see myself. And I bring all of that to my job every day, and I'm grateful for the experience to be in a position where you can be you no matter what it is that you dress. They really good. I'm also grateful for the experience when I started realizing that I was trans and I started getting comfortable telling people my pronouns, that I had a space where it was safe to do that. I had a space where they do allow you, or they will call you by the pronouns in which you choose. I'm grateful for this space. I do not take it for granted, because I know everybody does not have that ability within a job, ability within a family, ability within so many different places. So I honor the ability to do that and keep moving forward. With life, but I do think about that with life is what I'm trying to say. So I do think about that each and every day, because I realize some people that's a constant struggle. That's a constant thing they battle. And it's great to go in spaces, whether that's online communities, or your therapist or therapist groups, and they see you and you get to show up, be you, flourish and grow. And that's what I think. And I guess I'll close with the statement: I love this shirt that I've seen posted on social media sites. It says, "Dear friend, whoever's reading this shirt, whoever's reading this, that's behind me. I'm so glad you exist, and I'm so glad you're here." And that's what I feel each and every day. No matter what your identity or your expression is, how you show up, I am so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that you're existing, or that you exist. And I think too about another group where we were reading Audre Lorde's work, and A Litany of Survival, and it talks about how we were not meant to survive. And when you think about that in terms of all of the things that you've come through, no matter your identity, no matter your expression or race or whatever, to keep thriving, to keep growing, to keep evolving, to keep showing up in the fullness and the wholeness of who you are, is an amazing gift that you give to yourself, and you give to everybody that you meet, everybody that you influence in your circle of influence. And that might be your friends, or that might be people who you don't even know what you mean to those people, but your brightness, being, is important. Just showing up, just being you. You keep doing that, all right? That's all I got. Thanks for listening. Peace.